I like to welcome a new member to the Rolling Metal Tool Temple cult. He, she or it is from around here somewhere, but the exact location is unknown at this point. But I'm hoping one of you guys can help me with that question. Yes, it's another lathe, because you can't have too many old lathes, right? Besides, this one is special because it was made in the Netherlands. And as a Dutch guy, I always wanted a lathe made in Holland. Yes, we can be as chauvinistic as the French, as patriotic as the Americans, and as nationalistic as the Germans. But there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you respect each other's lathes. The first time I saw this lathe in an advertisement, I thought it was a rather odd looking machine. It looked a bit homemade in the low resolution pictures, or maybe like a Franken lathe. But the Made in Holland badge got me interested. Unfortunately, the seller could not tell me anything about the machine. To the best of my knowledge, this badge says PDF. Unfortunately, PDF is a popular file format for documents. So when searching for this lathe on the internet, all I found were PDF files. Some were actually rather interesting, most not. In the end, I did craft a Google query that was supposed to exclude PDF files from the search results, but that actually made my computer crash. So at that point I gave up my search. But when another machine got advertised cheaply, not too far away, I decided to buy it. This was all back in 2017, so I didn't break my promise not to buy any more lathes. But now that the lathe is finally in the old barn, it is time to enlist the help of the YouTube community and hopefully unravel the story behind this enigma. I have never run this lathe or seen it running. It's probably the reason why it was so cheap. So let's have a closer look and I'll show you what I found so far and why I think this lathe is a bit of an oddball. First off, have you ever seen a lathe before with a dovetailed bed, the lead screw between the bedways, and a weird, almost external half nut construction that is no longer functioning properly? It's kinda interesting, but I think it's not the best construction, as the lead screw and the half nuts will be bombarded with chips and swarf all the time. The carriage is also a bit weird looking, with its rather long compound slide and no apron. In fact, the only way to move the carriage back and forth is by using a hand wheel to turn the lead screw. Something that isn't working anymore. Well, at least it isn't working properly. This bar here, by the way, seems to be a mechanism for disengaging the lead screw. Here's the tailstock that seems to have a huge offset, but in fact the spindle of this lathe is not running in the middle of the bed. It's almost on top of this bedway. And I think that's a weird but interesting construction. This, by the way, is where you lock the tailstock to the bed. Compared to the rest of the lathe, I think the headstock is rather traditional. 4-speed pulley and a back gear that makes 8 speeds. A forward reverse tumbler for the lead screw. Here's a closer look at the drivetrain. Most of the gears seem to be in good order, except for this one. On this side, half of the teeth are missing. And I think this lever here is supposed to slide this gear in and out of engagement. And something's probably wrong inside of the headstock. And apparently it can cut both metric and imperial threads. I do have a bunch of change gears. Here's a look inside the headstock. There's a pristine V-belt with some dry rot and some sunburn. I guess that needs to be changed. This pin here uses a rivet to keep it from engaging the cone pulley. There's one big problem with this headstock, something I didn't notice when I bought this lathe. There's a crack in the casting here that goes to the shaft for the back gear construction. So that needs to be fixed, or maybe it can be braced, I don't know. It's not something I can probably fix. These grease nipples seem to be clogged up. And here is the counter shaft construction. It is not the original unit. The original one has a 2-speed pulley that goes to the motor, and it is actually sitting on this side outside the cabinet. So for this setup they had to cut a hole into the cabinet. Interesting detail, this here is made from a bicycle frame. It is the part that goes to the rear wheel. And over here, that's the tube that goes to the saddle. I am rather disappointed that the original countershaft is no longer on this machine. And I cannot understand why they had to make their own setup. Whatever happens, it should always be easier to repair the original item instead of making something yourself. There are lots of other things wrong with this lathe. This hand wheel is not doing anything. Some part is loose, just hanging on here. It probably needs to be mounted onto the carriage somehow. There's a lot of play on here. The half nut mechanism doesn't work properly. This side is not moving. There's also a bit of metal missing, like this chunk here, and the T-slot on this side is completely torn away. Compound seems to work, although it is rather tight. Over here in this area the lead screw is heavily worn, and the strange thing is, this here is at least 40 centimeters away from the chuck, so I wonder if they flipped over the lead screw at some point. Well, at least it is turning again. This is the ball handle that moves the carriage, and I just did my first little repair. I replaced the missing bolt here. There are probably many more to follow, and I wonder if I might be in over my head. Replacing a little bolt I can handle, but making a new gib, that'll be a challenge. Both the tailstock and the crosslight have these end stops. I'm not sure if they are original. They probably aren't. Here's the cabinet for the lathe. And I wasn't planning on showing it in this video, but I just noticed there's a nameplate on the cabinet. Funny how you can sometimes miss things. NV Kratos, Den Haag. Well, at least now we have a name and a location. That should help with the search for more information. And here's the motor, hiding between some leaves and sandpaper. And as you can see, the electrical installation isn't really up to today's standards. That's probably the first thing I need to fix, and then probably change the belt so I can run the lathe. I did get a steady rest and a traveling steady with this lathe, and these look pretty stout. They will come in handy if I ever get this lathe running. And I also got the outside jaws and some change gears. I think I covered everything I wanted to say about this little lathe. If anyone knows more about this little lathe, please put it in the comments. I am anxious to find out a bit more about this little machine. That's it, I guess. To be continued.